Hello, welcome. I hope you're safe and well wherever you're weathering the current pandemic. Thanks for joining us. Today we're introducing the Redux Telehealth Rapid Deployment Framework. Here's our agenda. We're going to explain the rapid deployment model for quickly getting integrated telehealth solutions like yours into the hands of patients and healthcare providers. We'll share a little bit about how Redux is able to power this model, and we'll provide contact information at the end so you can discuss your solution with our team and figure out if this makes sense for you. But first, who are we? I'm Brian Matsura. I head up our customer success management team. Like many of us at Redux, I have an EHR background, spent many years helping to build, implement, and support electronic health records. In addition to our EHR experience, Redux also knows a thing or two about telehealth solutions. Here with me today is Aleph to share more about that and about our rapid deployment model. Aleph?
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, wherever you may all be. My name is Aleph Erajar, and I'm the Chief Customer Officer at Redux since July 2019. Prior to Redux, I was employee number 3 and the Senior Vice President of Product Management and Professional Services at American Well Corporation, now known as MWell, one of the pioneers of telehealth, as you may well know. 14 years ago, when I made the decision of joining American Well as one of the founding employees, my main reason was that I wanted to work for a company with a greater mission and a potential to have a greater impact than what I was doing at the time in supply chain. Although I'm really sad for what we're going through with the COVID-19 pandemic today, I'm proud to see my 13 years at American Well spent building this digital healthcare platform today is helping millions of patients and providers during this pandemic. I truly believe telehealth is and should be the first line of defense as we're dealing with this. We have no time to waste. This is why we're here today, sharing with you how at Redux we can help you all rapidly deploy your telehealth service in an integrated way. Next slide, please. As healthcare organizations and societies around the world figure out how to tackle COVID-19, one thing that is clear that we need to maintain social distancing to help flatten the curve. The concept of social distancing is contrary to our usual healthcare practices that ask everyone that needs care to come to a centralized location, hospitals, urgent care facilities, our primary care providers' offices. Telehealth's capabilities to provide virtual care have been utilized for years, and it is now taking center stage as the primary method to provide care, rather than being relegated to a subset of defined use cases. Integrated telehealth can be a complex undertaking with a variety of different options for customization. I should know I helped build the integration services at American Well 5 years ago. On average, we see telehealth integrations taking approximately anywhere from 16 to 18 weeks to complete. The majority of this time is typically spent on defining a detailed scope and the optimal way to get that data. In my past, I've been criticized in trying to build the Mona Lisa, but this is not one of those times. Time is of the essence. COVID-19 marks the first time that I can tell in my experience of the past 14 years, the need for telehealth is not regional, but first time it is countrywide, really global. Telehealth has proven incredibly beneficial in times of localized disasters. I remember how we tried to help during Hurricane Katrina and the California wildfires, Haiti earthquake, when physically being there was difficult or impossible. The US healthcare system has invested millions in digital health over the past few decades, and we're at a point where we can really take advantage of digital technology to provide new avenues for patient care. but that technology is only useful if it can be quickly deployed. Based on our experience at Redux, integrating a variety of telemedicine providers that you can see on this slide, some of them are there, across major EHR companies and 50 healthcare providers, we've identified the common threads and created an integrated telehealth rapid deployment model. This model represents an integration scope for a minimum viable product, with the goal on keeping systems in sync to ensure continuity of care while limiting the amount of effort that is needed from already stretched resources at the healthcare providers today. You're going to ask me, well, what does this rapid deployment timeline look like? And you're probably not going to believe me, but we believe the rapid deployment timeline is focused on getting your integrated telehealth solution live in 2 weeks or less. One of the key pieces of meeting this timeline will be commitment from your telehealth team and the healthcare organization to use the MEP Scope as part of the project planning and scoping work defined in phase 0. So let's dig a little bit deeper into the rapid deployment scope itself. What is this MEP Scope? The MEP Scope used by the integrated telehealth rapid deployment model consists of 2 messages: outbound scheduling from the healthcare provider's EHR, and the telehealth vendor sending some type of an after-visit summary or documentation back to the EHR after the virtual visit is complete. I remember one of the most important things when we were designing our telehealth platform was to maintain that continuity of care and make sure that there wasn't another silo of patient health record was being created. Now, if your product doesn't need one of those scheduled appointments, for example, it can be omitted from the scope and still be eligible for a rapid deployment project. As I said, if this was an on-demand visit, for example, maybe you only need the after-visit summary as opposed to scheduling. If deeper integration is, however, more essential than deployment speed, Redux can support data exchange for more than 20 different sets of healthcare data. We've done it all. The rapid deployment model starts with scheduling information being sent from the healthcare organization's EHR or scheduling system using one of the methods listed in the upper left-hand corner: HL7 SIU feed over VPN, API access to select EHRs, formatted file over SFTP like HL7 or CSV. These represent the most common ways we see scheduling information provided with the least amount of work required from the IT team at the healthcare organization. You will have a Redux team member from our customer success organization to help with conversations to determine what method will be the fastest for the healthcare provider to set up. We have experience working with many other EHR APIs in different integration capacities and have identified a select group that we know can be rapidly deployed. If you know that you need to connect with EHR APIs, we can provide more details about the different EHR APIs we worked with as we engage together. Upon receiving the telehealth visit from the EHR, Redux Engine can make the scheduled information available to you in one of 2 ways. First is a query-based workflow. When an EHR API is in use, Redux provides a consistent query format and a single location to store authentication credentials. This simplifies the process of identifying and completing development to handle the differences that you will encounter as you work across multiple EHR vendor APIs. We've already built out integrations to many of the EHR vendor APIs that can be leveraged to get you up and running quickly. In the event that the healthcare organization is pushing messages using HL7 or an SFTP process, you can still use the Redux API to query for those booked appointments. This saves you from having to do additional build to adapt to unique business logic and functions across different healthcare organizations and EHRs. However, if you have not previously integrated your product before, we recommend using a query-based workflow, as it reduces the need for you to store extraneous data and ensure you have the information you need at the point you need it. The second method is a real-time data push. As soon as we receive the data, we'll push it to your system. If you've never integrated your platform again, you will use the Redux API scheduling data model format available in our online documentation that you can reference. If you're currently integrated today using another format such as HL7, we have some options to keep the expected format the same as you have today to help you get up and running quickly, but would need to dig in more to understand your current state. The second part of the rapid deployment model, as it's being proposed, is designed to close the documentation circle by integrating after visit documentation from your telehealth platform into the healthcare organization's EHR. As we said, maintaining continuity of care is of utmost importance here. To determine the fastest way to set this up, you will first need to determine if you are providing the data using a structured format such as CCDA, or an unstructured document like PDF. At American Mall, for example, we first started with PDFs and sending those up to the EHRs, and then built into more structured format, building the CCDAs. Based on your decision, we will actually have another, as I mentioned before, a Redux team member will work with you and your healthcare organization's IT team in the best way to implement it. The way that the CCDA or the PDF will be sent to the healthcare organization is also outlined on the lower right-hand corner, either if it is CCDA through direct or XDR, or an unstructured document through HL7 MDM or ORU feed. Now I'd like to pass the baton back to Brian to share with you what does that mean to have integration powered by Redux and how the power of our network can help you build once and use it again and again. Brian?
Thanks, Ayla. Yeah, so our focus so far has been on the rapid deployment of a focused telehealth scope, because speed is the most important thing today. We're able to offer this model because it's built on the Redux approach to integration. So beyond rapid focused telehealth deployment, Redux provides you with technical advantages as well as our deep integration experience, both for today's projects, but also for the future. Our approach to integration is designed to be different from traditional point-to-point integrations. So traditional integrations use this point-to-point approach. It's very custom every time. It requires the same amount of effort from your team and from your customers every time. So it's difficult to achieve economies of scale, continues to require more people, more development, and it's complex to support. Redux uses a networked approach. So it's designed to create a more predictable integration method for your team and creates reusable integration for the healthcare providers with whom you integrate. So this means that the existing connections we have with over 700 healthcare organizations are also able to be quickly reused as our healthcare providers partners extend new technology, such as your platforms. So there's a lot to take in on this slide, but the overall concept to keep in mind is, if you're familiar with integration, you know that speed to go live is often governed by the capacity of the destination health system. We can go faster if we reduce the complexity and the lift for the healthcare provider's IT team. So with the rapid deployment scope we've discussed today, we have approximately 140 healthcare organizations that are already sending scheduling data to Redux and receiving documents from us. Because those integrations are already set up, we can reuse the existing connections and configurations to enable you to exchange data with their EHR. These projects require minimal effort from the healthcare provider's IT team and are likely going to be the quickest to set up. If you want to compare our list of these 140 with your pipeline, please do reach out using the contact information at the end of this presentation. For healthcare providers that Redux has already integrated with, but using a different scope from the one we're proposing today, we can still move more quickly because we already have connectivity with their system and have worked with their team before. And for healthcare providers who would be net new to the Redux network, with whom we haven't worked before, the scope described earlier, the MVP scope, is still a reduced effort to stand up for those IT teams. And then lastly, just to note, we're also able to provide support for a wide range of integrations beyond what we've discussed here. But of course, these are not likely to take the 2 weeks that we've outlined for this MVP rapid telehealth integration model. They will be more dependent on the healthcare provider's EHR, how it's configured, and their IT team's availability. In addition to making it easier for healthcare providers to connect with fewer resources, you also benefit from the networked approach by being able to use a single connection. So you connect to Redux in the same way with the same format with a consistent integration workflow, regardless of which EHR is on the other side of the connection. Makes this process easier for implementing integration more predictably with less customization. So basically just saying you can use this approach to get your solution integrated rapidly today, but it'll also set you up to scale in the future. Last thing we wanted to note is that Redux does more than just EHR integration. We support integrations to a variety of healthcare data sources, allowing you to know that you have the capability to integrate with different systems as your product continues to grow or as you encounter unique requests from your healthcare provider customers. We've already done the work to support connecting with a variety of systems, so you don't have to. In general, we're talking today because we want to help you put your technology in the hands of patients and providers as fast as possible to keep people safe and well during this current pandemic. But we also wanted you to know a bit about our approach and how rapidly deploying with Redux today can also build a foundation for your integrations to scale in the future. Back to you, Aleph.
Before we let you all go, we wanted to also share with you a new program that we've started, which is called the Code19 Health Technology Program, aimed at bringing the technology needed today into the hands of patients and providers quickly by removing the cost barrier. Redux has committed to waiving our integration fees for 90 days, along with the select partners that are waiving their costs in the interest of public health. Given how critical telehealth is in achieving flattening of the COVID-19 curve, we want to help you get connected as quickly as possible and rapidly start providing your services to the public at large. If you're interested in joining our COVID-19 program, please let us know. At Redux, we say we're all patients and we are definitely all in this together. We'd love to help you get your solution in the hands of patients who need it and the providers and provider organization who need it the most right now. Thank you so much for being part of our presentation today. And as you can see right here on this slide, you can see different ways of contacting us. Again, thanks, and we're looking forward to working with you all. Stay safe.